And I remember thinking, I'm getting for real married in 4 months, and I better cry at that one too, because it'll be super weird if I only cry at the Stefon one. Hey everybody, I'm Seth Meyers, and this is TheWrap's Ask Me Anything. I know you're supposed to say you're not excited about these things because they don't matter, but I was deeply excited by the Emmy nomination. I should really stress that I am taking the nomination as the victory. I have no expectation. There's more to come. There are some people like Taylor Schilling and Joel Edgerton who are people that I didn't know before they were on my show, and I've just really fallen in love with them. And then there are people like, having David Letterman on their show was a huge deal, but it's a little bit less fun because the whole time you're nervous that you're gonna fuck up in front of David Letterman. I think everything about those first couple of months in quarantine were instinct inspired, and figuring out how to do the show took up so much brain space, just the technical aspects of it. Then when it got to the actual creative part of the show, you had to just go on gut alone. And then because there wasn't an audience in the studio, I did start reading YouTube comments because I'm a monster of ego who needs to be fed. And it was really cool to, find out that people were paying attention to the small things. And then we just started planting Easter eggs in the show, which we'd never even thought about doing before, from really dumb bits with a hardcover copy of the novel The Thornbirds to a tiny door behind my shoulder to a talking sea captain painting, which was divisive to this day. A lot of people ask me, why did you lose the sea captain? And I would say, take it up with the people. Like my father, who had nothing good to say about him. Wow, I have not read a single word of Stefon Seth Meyers fan fiction, but I'm positive I wouldn't hate it. When Bill and I ran off stage, if you remember the final Stefon, where we got married, and he left, and then I followed him, and then there was the pre-tape, and then we ran back in, and he had a wedding veil on. But we were standing backstage. It was Bill's last show. It was Fred's last show. It was Jason's last show. Very much felt like the end of an era. And I was standing backstage holding hands with Hader because we were going to run into the studio holding hands. And we just held hands way earlier than we needed to. And we were watching our wedding, our phony wedding, on TV in the backstage. And we were both tearing up. And I remember thinking, I'm getting for real married in 4 months, and I better cry at that one too, because it'll be super weird if I only cry at the Stefon one. I think if we're talking all time, probably some mix of Richard Pryor, Steve Martin, John Cleese. I think those are the ones that, because my parents really liked all that stuff, I got an introduction to it. Wonton is my favorite soup. Like, I feel like I have better advice for people who want to aspire to be a comedy writer. And then I would say you do that well enough for a long enough time, and maybe you'll be as lucky as Conan or I. And someone will say, would you like to do the show? I would just say that my improv background, where that has helped me the most with late night, is that the best interviewers are really good listeners. And I think that's also true of the best improv scene partners. So that's ultimately what I would say is the key, is the listening. Look, it's hard because like John and Trevor have them already. So it's a little unfair to say I do the best accent work in late night. But here for you, Andre, I'm going to do my Hugh Grant impression that I think it got me hired at SNL. No, I'm frightfully sorry. Me and Hader versus Fred and Helen. I, I was going to say Helen has the advantage because she was in those Red movies, but Bill's got Barry going for him now. But Fred could kind of play anybody. I'm going to choose the team I'm not on. I cannot believe Hot Rod 2 when. It's been 15 years since Hot Rod came out. And based on the fact that there have been no conversations about Hot Rod 2 in those 15 years, I would guess at least another 15. I just hope they realize how appreciative I am, especially based on this last 2+ years. But I really emotionally felt our fans during the pandemic. Thank you to everyone who asked questions, and to TheWrap in general, and to video conferencing.